my friends. And you are my friends. Where are you tonight, Matt?
I'm in the kitchen in a different angle.
I remember when we started, you used to broadcast from there, didn't you?
You thought I was on my bed.
I did actually think you're on your bed. Anyway, this is sort of a bit. We weren't going to do a show tonight. Martin said this afternoon, obviously, do we fancy doing a show? Me and Matt said, yeah. So I've thrown together a bit of a show, Matt, and hopefully everyone in the chat enjoys it. Before we start, I want to read a message from Martin that he's put on his Twitter. He said it's all right for me to read out. What a whirlwind few days. Early Saturday, Elsie was admitted to hospital. I have to give a huge credit to Mum, who trusted her instincts and didn't waste any time. Things from there, however, moved quickly and scarily. And before we knew it, Elsie was on a machine to help her breathe and was very unresponsive, surrounded by teams of doctors trying to identify what was causing our Elsie's problem. The staff at Ipswich Hospital have been absolutely, totally amazing every step of the way, and I cannot thank them enough for the care and love they've shown for my girls. I am in awe of every single one of them. Their knowledge, their strength, and their love has been a comfort to me and my family. There is still a long road ahead, and currently we still don't know what's actually wrong with our Elsie, but with God's love and grace, we will beat this. Together with love. Hang on, we've got another bit. If you pray, we ask you to pray or send positive thoughts our way. Your messages have been of huge comfort to me and my family. So I thank you all, Martin. I just want to say what Martin's created with this show. It's all about community, isn't it, Matt? It's all about family. And you see in the chat there, look, all the blue hearts. So we've been chatting on the WhatsApp and trying to sort of keep Martin's mind sort of off things. And he was talking about town, and even on Saturday, wasn't he? Wanted to know what was going on. But I just want to say for myself and obviously from you, Matt, we just send all our love, and everybody in the chat, we just hope everything will be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Rich. Yeah, it's been a terrible time, hasn't it?
At the end of the day, we're here to talk football, but I think sort of like Saturday when he messaged me and he messaged you, my mind wasn't really on the game, Matt. I was sort of, you're thinking, we love town, we love it, but then it's not really important at the end of the day, is it, when you think of it? No, we couldn't concentrate on the game, could we? But hopefully there's improvement. Look at Ipswich Town, because obviously we slipped to another defeat. I'm going to try and play Mr. Positivity tonight, where Matthew is Victor Meldrew. I don't believe it.
I used to love that show. 1 Foot in the Grave. During the Christmas special, 1 foot in the Algarve.
Great, wasn't it? They don't make telly like they used to.
No, they don't. Absolutely.
But,
I'm pleased you got home in the fog anyway. You did well.
Well, the funny thing was, right, I was speaking to Colin today, and 10 minutes up the road, no fog.
It was fine.
No fog. I mean, has everybody in the chat, have they ever seen anything like that? Look, we're going to get into it and what happened. And I know you put the rule book, I think the rules this morning in the Discord, didn't you, Matt, about obviously the referee, who by the way, if everyone in the chat doesn't know, I see him, Frankie and Benny's pre-match having his, I don't know what he was having. I didn't really take any notice, but maybe he'd had a couple of beers too many and his eyesight had failed him.
He had a couple of brandies in that coffee.
I don't know what he was doing. We just walked out. We walked out, and I see this guy, bald head, beard, with his black sports top, the old Illuminous sleeves, with EA Sports. And I thought, blimey, he's one of the officials. I didn't know he was going to be the referee, and he was going to be like the centerpiece of the game.
It's a great spot from you, by the way.
Yeah, it was interesting, and it was interesting that he had a luminous yellow on his sleeves, Matt, because we had to use an luminous yellow ball,
which you said made no difference.
Not really. In the second half, it was I've never seen anything like it because it was obviously foggy. It was one of them days, you know, when it hangs around the fog, and you think, I've never really sat there in the first half thinking the game's going to be abandoned. I thought it was a bit of fog had come in and it'd clear a little bit. But I went down at half time and then chatted to a couple of guys that I knew, come back about 10 minutes later, walking up the steps thinking, blimey, what's happened here?
Where's the stadium gone?
Well, it was like that, and then it gradually
Yeah.
got worse through the second half. And you were obviously you watched it, and everyone in the chat who wasn't there was probably watching it on the iFollow and streams and whatever. And it's
farcical.
Look, I'm not blaming the defeat on the fog. If you think of what Kieran said and Cole Robinson, I think they were the stance, Matt, that they probably wanted it abandoned, didn't they?
Yeah, they both said they would, but they got told wrong information.
Tell us the information. Tell us.
The
referee has said, hasn't he? 74 minutes. Anything before that, the game is replayed. Anything after 75 minutes, he has said the result stands.
Now he's done some time in Scottish leagues. I don't know if it was Premier League or Championship there, or whatever it might be. Let's assume it's Premier League.
Fisherman's iFollow must be much better than anyone else's iFollow, because he says, I could see the other side of the picture on iFollow. Well, I was in the stadium, Mike, and I couldn't see about 20 yards in front of my face.
I sent you the video of the winning goal, didn't I? Even the cameraman can't pick it up.
Well, I didn't have a clue. I just heard the cheer, obviously, from down the other end.
Yeah,
and
but you're right. What you just said, it was correct according to what McKenna had said in the interview after the match. But if you look in the EFL rules, it says that if a game is abandoned, then it will go to the EFL board to decide whether or not the result should stand. You got to assume if it was abandoned in the 90th minute, 3-0, like you said earlier, Rich, on the phone, it'd probably stand. Or they will.
It's interesting. Like I said to you, do you remember Barnsley away when we were 3-0 down with 5 minutes left and we scored 3 goals and we got a draw? So you could be 3-0 down with 10 minutes left and there could be 5 or 6 minutes injury time. Now,
look at the injury time now we get.
9 times out of 10, you're going to lose that game, aren't you?
Yeah.
But who's to say that you could have scored 3 goals?
The fact remains, the referee has told the two managers wrong information, not the competition rules. He's told them wrong. So if the game was abandoned, it'll go to the EFL board and they'll decide whether or not the result stands or it'd be replayed. And given it would have been abandoned on 75 at 1-1, they would decide the date of when it would be replayed. So laughable. I do hope the EFL board look at that, because to brief both managers wrong information because they both wanted to come off. Not that I'm blaming the result on.
No, it was like Matchday. I was there. Colin was there in the chat. You know, the linesman who was on our side, he needs to see the full width of the pitch. Surely, if he's making decisions.
Yeah. You said you couldn't even see the other side.
He could not see the other side. No chance. He couldn't. Even the one that hit the bar. You know, when Clark had the header, he bounced up, hit the bar, then he hit Ladapo on the line. That was literally the end that we were at.
Yeah.
I couldn't see what was happening there. So I don't know what was happening. But I agree with Matt there. The linesman on our side, he kept just shrugging his shoulders. Now,
is he supposed to see it offside or whatever?
I don't know. But listen, let's get to the game anyway, because fog or no fog, Town were poor again, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Really poor performance. Really bad. I mean, could you believe the first goal? The defending on the first goal?
Well, no, I've got 3 things down here. So the first 25 minutes, I don't think we won a 50-50 ball.
No.
Literally everything. So I've got down here tactical, mental, physical. So the physical side of the game, I think Robinson had a game plan. He changed how they played. He said it was
3-5-2.
Yeah, and he said it was for him. He was happy that he played them. So €50 from David Bergin. Thank you very much. By the way, if anyone wants to donate today, Martin got a speeding ticket on the A14.
He did.
Doing 78, I think. I did say to him, it's the only 3 points Town have got for quite a while. Trying to lift them all. So if anyone wants to donate and pay Martin's fine, put in a super chat. But
his mind was elsewhere, everybody.
Yeah, getting back to the physical side, and he changed it up, Robinson, because he said that he was glad that he played, because we played on Boxing Day and we beat them quite comfortably in the end. He was happy that they played them so quick, and he'd obviously looked at that game, and he's changed how we played, he played, set up. But we don't do that, do we? We just have the one way of playing. I don't know what it is. I've got a poll running on Twitter today, Matt, about having a plan B. Nearly 800 people. It's literally split down the middle. Some people saying we don't need to change the way we're playing. Plan A works. We've just got to be more clinical, both ends of the pitch. And that is probably fair enough when you think of it, because looking at that game, there was nothing in that game for 25, 30 minutes. It was a poor game, wasn't it? And then it's
they had a good spell at Portman Road, didn't they? They had that spell at Portman Road in the first 20 minutes where they were good. And it kind of reflected again at home there, didn't it? When they scored the opening goal, that was 25? A bit later?
Yeah, about 30. Yeah. But getting back to that, that's a bog standard long clearance from your goalkeeper, Matt.
Yeah.
They've hardly opened us up with football from like Barcelona, have they, really?
No. Yeah. It was 34th minute. It was such woeful defending. We're never going to learn, are we? It's going to be the same all season. We said this from the chart. It's going to be the same all season now.
And this is what I'm saying about being more ruthless. It's not just attacking wise. We're so easy to score a goal against.
Yeah. I mean, he's played a 1-2 off Donatian, walks through Wolfenden, and then Burgess, the scarecrow, glides past him.
We can go back to the first ball. So it's a great touch from Vilscher. Let's be fair to him. He's plucked it out of the sky, Matt, and he's killed it dead.
Ex-Norwich again.
Ex-Norwich. I remember him roasting Luke Chambers when he played at Wigan on one away at the D-double.
But it's
a great touch, but Wolfenden gets out-muscled and he rolls him so easy. Now, for me, just give a foul away. If you have to foul him there, fair enough. But then, like you say, Donatian, it's a poor, not even a tackle, is it?
It's almost a 1-2 off his ankles.
Sort of bobbles through. And then if we go back to Wickham's goal, when they beat us 1-0 at Adams Park with Burgess' defending, I know when he gets in the box, he's got to be careful and he can't really touch him because he knows any foul's a penalty, but it's just a powder puff sort of.
Well, he doesn't do anything, does he? He didn't stick a foot out against Wickham. He didn't do it here. And then he's got, I said on the Discord today, he's at fault on he's the two deflections that cost us 4 points. Plymouth and Fleetwood, both came on him. If he was on a boat, they'd call him a Jonah, wouldn't they? The sailors.
Well, Emerson says there in the chat, what was Burgess attempting? I don't know. I can't answer what he was attempting. You'd have to ask him that because he's just so flat-footed he gets, Matt, in them situations.
Ridiculous. Look, I give him full credit for he had the injury, didn't he, where he broke all the bones in his face. He come back, he wore the mask. I mean, fair play to him. But is he good enough to wear an Ipswich shirt now? When you think of who's worn that shirt in that position, Alan Hunter, Kevin Beattie, Russell Osman, Terry Butcher, and now they weren't flat-footed. They would put in a challenge. But then what's the replacement? Edmondson?
Well, we're saying, you're saying about all them names you're reading off there, it wouldn't have even got that far because they'd have either won the ball and he wouldn't have turned the defender or they'd have fouled him.
We've got so used now to mediocrity. Do you know what I mean? It's just painful to watch. Like I say, who comes in instead of his place? Keogh, old. Edmondson, it doesn't seem to be in favour.
Greg Lee. Not played hardly any football fridge, has he? So I don't know. No. There might be stuff. Look, who knows what's going on behind the scenes, but he's just fallen so far, hasn't he, down the pecking order?
Weird, because look, we spent 900 grand on him, as we were talking about Friday. Bloody hell, Burgess was 800. Does he look like an 800 grand defender? Yeah. I don't think so. No. 80 grand maybe.
You did say Stephen Parry says Greg Lee. You could play him in there, but I think he's not even really played in that position this season. So.
No,
you've got a lot of defenders. We've got a lot of defenders, Matt, but not many left-sided when you think of it. Like Burgess, Edmonds has played there before, but like Mike said before, Fridge doesn't look comfortable in that left-hand side centre-back role, does he?
I think people thought he looked more comfortable when they played the three because that gives you a little bit more freedom to come out with the ball. You're a little bit more constrained maybe in that four. But I don't know what the answer is to that. It's costing. It's costing us goals. I know that much. It's costing us goals. I mean, look, I like Greg Lee. I floated the idea on Friday. You could play him that left side and team up with Davis. He's a unit. He's a big guy. He's got legs like tree trunks. He's good in the air.
Yeah.
I don't think like you say.
We will come on to our 1 to 11s a bit later. So keep your powder dry there. But then look, 1-0 down, disappointing. Good reaction for Town. They got back in the game, 4 minutes later? That's an excellent goal. If you watch the whole move, they've gone from Walton, they've gone right through the pitch. And then obviously Leif Davis at the back post with a good header. First goal for Town.
Quality ball in from Harness.
Yeah, lovely little chip in.
Davis obviously had heard you on Friday night saying, why doesn't he score in open play?
Well,
there he was.
But that's what your wing back should be doing, in that far post, when it's on the other side. Yeah, he's got to be in there. And he's got that goal. And hopefully now that's his first goal. Hopefully he can get a few more between now and the end of the season.
What's the feeling in the away end that we would go on and win the game at 1-1? What was the feeling at that point? If you could see the game, of course.
Well, it was good because it was that reaction that we showed to get back so quickly. And you think, right, we're in at 1-1. We go in at half-time 1-1. And then you think, second half, you come out. Look, it's fine margins, Matt. Wes Burns missed a good chance in the first half. Harness had a chance. But for me, it's the one great ball in from Wes. It's a really good run from George Hurst. But he is, 12 yards out? I see Andy Warren in his player ratings. He said it was a good shot. Well, it wasn't a good shot because a good shot goes in the goal. And he should score there. He should score.
That was him. I was up.
So did I. We're all up.
Yeah.
It was like just wrong side of the post. Obviously he hit it well. He caught it well. Yeah. But it's those chances that we create, but we do miss a lot of chances.
Did you think Hurst had a good full debut? I mean, you thought he was a little bit isolated. He had some good touches, I thought.
See, I thought he'd done all right. And I said to several people, I said to Colin, I think I said to you on the phone, it's Freddie Ladapo gets a lot of stick about playing that lone striker role. And I think it'll be just the same with George Hurst. Some people will say he's done well. And other people will say, I thought he was quite poor. But I think it's a really hard role to play. I really do. And I know Mike bangs on about having two up front. Well, it was interesting because I went on Radio Suffolk afterwards and Mick Mills was talking. He said, with the formation that Oxford played, it left sort of a spare man for us. So it was crying out for, it would be Chaplin for me. This is where I get back to tactical, It doesn't have to just be you're changing your formation at the start of the game. You can change it in-game, just a little tweak. Connor, play a little bit closer to George, give him a bit of a hand.
Pick up the ball around the D or whatever.
Because a lot of them balls that went into Hurst, I'd call them like fight balls, Matt. They're sort of 50-50 and it's like the defender and him, and the defender's climbing all over the back of him after
you're
time.
Asking a lot. Yeah, you're asking a lot of him, I think. Yeah.
So I thought it was a decent debut. If he'd have scored that goal, and we probably would have gone on to win the game, but with Town, we probably would have let a last-minute goal in and we'd still be sitting here disappointed tonight. That's what we do.
Right. Yeah,
but
what did you make of their winner then? What did you make of the winner? Brannigan?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it, but once again, right, it's a ball into the box. And if you listen to Kieran's interview after the game saying the conditions were difficult, they put a lot of balls into the box. But we've seen this time and time again when teams put balls into the box, Matt. We just don't deal with them.
That's a fundamental of football, isn't it? I'm going to put the ball into the opposition's box. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, was Walton unsighted with the fog, maybe?
I've seen it behind the goal from in their stand, and he's not saving it. What I will say about Christian Walton, and I said at the start of the season, he will win us between 10 and 15 points.
Do you think
I don't see him. No, I don't see him making many big saves. He doesn't have a lot to do. Let's be fair. And this is another thing. He doesn't have a lot to do, but we still somehow we end up losing games or drawing games.
Do you think he was better last season than this?
Walton, yes, definitely.
You felt he had more to do last season?
It was interesting. I was looking at the ratings from Andy Warren, and so last week against Plymouth, I thought he had a really dodgy game, didn't he, with his kicking?
Dreadful.
And he gave him a 6. Christian Walton got a 6 against Plymouth. Yet on Saturday against Oxford, and he didn't have a lot to do. I know he let 2 goals in. He gave him a 5. Was he any worse Saturday than he was against Plymouth? No.
yeah.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not just Christian Walton whose form's dropped off. This is why we're on this run of 3 wins in. It's 3 in 11, 15 points out of 33, Matt. This is why we're on this run, because too many players' performances have dropped below the standard that we'd set earlier in the season.
We said, didn't we, like when we were like before the Charlton game, so we was in like mid-October or whatever, and we said we would take a huge drop-off for Town to not get promoted automatically. And it didn't. And then along comes the Charlton game, and it's gone tits up since then, isn't it? It's like, what, 31 points from 19 games? That would have us 5th in the table if the season started on that Charlton game, which was, I think, October 29th. In the same time period, I think Plymouth have done 20 games, 43 points. And I think Sheffield Wednesday, something like 40. That explains why there's the difference. And we've got 31.
Yeah, if you look at the form table, over the last 6, Sheffield Wednesday got 16 points. Derby got 16. Derby actually, so Wednesday unbeaten in 15. Derby unbeaten in 18, coming like an absolute train. Then you've got Plymouth, 14. Equal 4th in the form table, Morecambe.
They're not played for a couple of weeks, have they?
Not played for 2.5 weeks. So they're going to be, I'd say they're going to be pretty fresh tomorrow night.
They're 4th from bottom, but have safety in their eye line, haven't they?
They've taken 10 points, Matt, from the last 6, which is decent form. And if they continue that sort of in the second half of the season, they'll probably be safe. But there's too many. If you go through the team, so Walton's form's dropped off. I think the back 4, Davis has been pretty consistent, I'd say.
He's the only one who gives you a threat from a corner. Hence, he's got so many assists.
JD.
I'll give McKenna credit for turning the corner situation around. It was non-existent last season, and now it is a threat, but only when Davis is taking them.
JD, obviously, you've got Clark's been signed, I think, to probably come in on that right-hand side.
That speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Your 2 centre-halves, Burgess.
He's not for me.
No. Wolfenden, he's been all right.
Yeah.
All right isn't good enough for me. And then you go to your midfield too. And I know Mike's quite critical of Sam Morsey and Lee Evans. Now, I think they played really well. I think they played really well, Matt, until Evans got injured.
Good point.
Since he's come back in the team, I think he's been pretty poorly, Evans, if I'm being honest.
Regressed to the Evans of last season, most likely.
Yeah. So there might be a change in there. Yeah. Look, I know people are critical about Wes Burns. Yeah, he's not on the form he was last season, but his numbers are still pretty good. He's got 6 goals. I think he's got 3 assists. And the one Saturday, he can only do his job. That's a great ball in for George Hurst. He's laid it on a plate, and he's pretty well opponent.
He brings you speed. He brings a little bit of excitement in. When he gets the ball, it's head down. You feel like he can beat a fullback, and he was unlucky to hit the bar. Maybe he kind of swiped it.
I think he should have scored. To be honest, I thought he'd done well because he got all the way through.
Yeah,
and then I thought just a little bit of composure there, and he just hit it too well, didn't he? He's got But I don't really see. I know we got a big squad. I don't really see a replacement for Burns in this squad, if I'm honest.
I thought maybe in the window, because I feel like his position's pretty safe, and you don't really want people in comfort zones, do you? All right, he's a Welsh international, blah, blah, blah. But you want someone just breathing down his neck. Now you've got it with Donatian and that Harry Clark, haven't you?
Yeah.
Eduardo doesn't really bring it, does he, to Burns? So I would like to see. I mean, look, the window's not shut yet. Well, we might still see something there. But it'd be nice to have another option now. Caden did all right against Rotherham in that position, didn't he?
Yeah.
Is that really?
Big shout out to Caden. 150 Town appearances.
Our 9th most expensive player ever.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
But
I think Caden's in Freddie Sears' world, didn't he? No one actually knows where he plays anymore.
Probably suffers that a little bit. Yeah. But then if you go, Connor Chaplin's, he's probably our most informed player, Matt, at the minute. He had that little dip, and then he's come back and he's he should be really, for me, one of the first names on the team sheet. You've
Yeah.
got Harness, inconsistent.
Even before his injury, we said he drops in and out of games, but when he drops back into it, he has impact. Forest Green away, Burton away, where he got the winner. The cushioned header for Ladapo to score.
Like that, don't you? You like the Exeter, the assist.
I thought that was a great goal. I thought that was a brilliant goal. It was so simple because the ball goes past the keeper at about 2 miles an hour. But because of how Ladapo's headed it and the cushioned down from Ladapo, it was just quality. But that's few and far between right now for Town, isn't it?
And then you've got Freddie's been your main striker, and he's been.
Well, you made a really good point on the phone, didn't you? He's bloody useless from the bench.
Yeah, look, Ladapo, I think when he's starting, I just said a few minutes ago about it's a really hard role to play. But I think he does okay. But to me, whenever I've seen him come off the bench, he's absolute dog shit. He really is. He really struggles to get into the game. And I know sometimes it is hard to get in the game and make an impact. But when you're making that sub, you're coming on for a reason. But I think sometimes it's like, this is another thing that it winds me up. I don't know if it winds you up, Matt. It's that first substitutions that we make. 60, 65 minutes.
Pre-planned subs. I know you don't like it.
It's just your
Yeah.
Saturday, you knew who your first two subs are going to be. Unless there's an injury.
Yeah.
You could have gone down to bookies and said, right, can I have £100, Marcus Harness, George Hurst to come off, Broadhead, and Freddie Ladapo to come on. This is another thing where your tactics and playing with a little bit of a different plan comes in for me, because you're so regimented and you're set in your ways that you're not thinking outside the box there. And if I can see it, if you can see it, and everyone in the chat can see when the first sub's going to be, you're telling me the opposition managers will know what they're going to do.
You think Carl Robinson's this going, we're making a sub now? I think he gets that from Marino.
60. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I think it's Marino's influence now. I think it's Marino's influence. I think he always used to prepare the game plan. He'd have like A, B, C. These are the subs we'll make depending on the result, the score line as it is at that time. I think he's probably got that from there. I do feel like Kieran overanalyzes it. I don't think he's a particularly charismatic person. He doesn't speak with much passion for me, but that's his character. But I think he's so over-analytical, he's probably overcomplicating it.
But that's what I think they are now. A lot of stats-based, how they look at the analytics.
Fluid, isn't it? He's not really reacting in real time. And when he does react in real time, he makes odd decisions, like Morsey going up front against Plymouth, Burgess being the centre forward against Cheltenham. It's almost like he ain't.
That's one of the only times this season when we've played two strikers, when he put Burgess up front against Cheltenham, and then we still played the same way. Tip-tappy. You've got 6'5" centre half. You just stuck up front for a reason, and you don't bloody put it in the box.
To improvise, he's that kind of character. I think he's he's so set on the planning. When he has to improvise, it doesn't reflect very well on him, particularly. I don't think you can argue with that either with the results we've had.
No, I don't think we can. When you look at the form of all these other teams around us, and I was working out today, I've got it here, and I don't know if I said to you on the phone. If you look at Plymouth, 61 points, Wednesday 58, Town 51.
How many games they done, Plymouth? How many games they done?
So they've got 19. They've got 18 left, and us and Wednesday got 19.
61 points from 28 games.
So right, if you're going on Plymouth and Wednesday, 2 points a game, average for their 18 and 19. Plymouth are on 97, Wednesday are on 96. Town go 2 points a game, 89.
It's going to be well short.
So where are we making this difference up, Matt?
I think, look, you sent me that tweet today, didn't you? Someone said, I don't know why everyone's moaning because we're in the best position we've been in for years. Incorrect. We're not in the best position that we had in December when we were top of the table. That was the best position we'd had in years. We're in big trouble now. The title's gone. Can we get second? Because I don't trust this team in the playoffs. I don't trust McKenna in the playoffs to win us 2 out of 3 games. One, which is at Wembley and in front of 80,000 people. Huge pressure moment. I don't see it. So hopefully we've got to beat Sheffield on February 11th to at least give us an opportunity to cut down there. But again, we've got to be consistent in our games to be picking up points when they don't. We need to win when they draw or when they lose. But like you just said, they ain't lost since October.
No, you need to be ready to pounce when there's no link tonight because Martin's obviously at hospital. It's just you just got to listen to me and Matt waffle on.
I'm sorry about this.
But if you look, Wednesday tomorrow night they go to Cheltenham away.
So they've just been rolled over by Plymouth 4-2.
Yeah, you expect a Wednesday win, but Plymouth don't play again until they've got because obviously the FA Cup game Saturday. Yeah. Shout out Matchday, I'd forgetting us the tickets in the Cobbold stand. Looking forward to sitting in there. So Plymouth's next game, Matt, is I think Sheffield Wednesday when we play Cambridge.
So do you trust Ipswich to pick up 3 points at Cambridge?
No, I'm saying you have to get your job done tomorrow night, firstly, right?
Yeah.
To cut that to 7 points.
Cambridge in relegation,
but when they play each other, what result would be best for Town?
I would say probably a Plymouth win because you're taking points off Sheffield Wednesday, and they're the only ones we can realistically catch. I think we're 10 behind Plymouth right now, and we played them twice. So you're already 3 and a bit games behind them. So they've got to screw up 3 games, or we win 3 on the trot, right? Difficult with 18 to go. Really difficult. So I'd rather see Plymouth win that. They get the title, and we could somehow beat them, and they lose to Plymouth. And
you win tomorrow night, 7 behind. Wednesday win, with 7 behind them.
Yeah.
Then when we go into that Cambridge game, obviously they play that day. We need to do our stuff in that game because it's no good. One of them losing, Town go to Cambridge and they draw.
Cambridge done 26 games. They've won 7, drawn 3, lost 16. A team we should be beating on paper.
Well, when you look at, we've got 6 of the next 8 games against teams between 19th and 24th, Matt.
That is a friendly fixture list, if you ask me.
It is very friendly.
If we'd had that at the start of the season, I would say we'd win all of those. Right now, what did you say earlier to me? McKennan's only 3 games on the trot once?
Yeah, I think once.
And then you're asking him to put together a run of 3, 4, 5 games. That's what it's gonna take, I think.
Yeah, to make up that difference, we're going to have to win. Colin says we're going to win the next 6. I don't personally see that.
Well, we've not, Colin, with all due respect, we've only won 3 games on the trot once. How are we going to suddenly turn that around to win 6 on the trot?
And the most, it was us before Saturday, the most points we've taken from a 20-game run was 44.
Yeah.
So 20 games, 44 points, that'd only put us on 85. No, that's going to be nowhere near the top 2.
No.
So we've got this form from somewhere. I don't know where it's going to come from. They've got to turn it round.
Perhaps it just, it needs to be a lucky 1-0 win, I don't know, tomorrow night or wherever.
So I've got a question for you, and I've got a question for everybody in the chat.
Go on.
Don't just say win more games. What must Town do to improve? The one thing we could do to improve. Sensible answers only.
For me, I think you mentioned it in the WhatsApp earlier. They've got to go back to how they were last season, tighter at the back, which means probably scoring less goals, because I don't think you can be tighter at the back and still be free-flowing. That, to me, is probably the key, because we've shot ourselves in the foot time and time again this season, and we saw it Saturday with the first one, by just dreadful defending. I mean, it's not even League One standard defending, or League Two. It's probably even lower than National League. I'm gobsmacked by it. It's a bad indictment on McKenna and his coaching staff, I think, to constantly make these same mistakes all the time.
So let's have a look in the chat here. Let's have a look in the chat. We've got right. Be more clinical, Josh Russell. Mike D, change formation. Stephen Parry, shore up the defence. David Pascoe, take our chances. Rob Holmes, mentality. Chris Lomas, 2 strikers. Moby, get some bottle. Mike Woods, clean sheets. 3-5-2, take a chances. 2 up front. There's a lot of people saying 2 up front. I agree with you, Matt. You've got to get back to being more. You've got to be harder to beat or harder to score against. We all know football. What did they used to sing at Arsenal? 1-0 to the Arsenal.
1-0 to the Arsenal. Boring Arsenal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Get back
Yeah.
to.
They won titles doing that.
And this was good. We were good under Kieran at the start, defensively.
Yeah. Are we still top scorers in League One? We've obviously been scoring lots of goals, but they said that when the FA Cup draw was made. Burnley top scorers in the Championship, Ipswich top scorers in League One. Unfortunately, we've just conceded really ridiculous goals. And when you look at the squad and the money paid on the squad and the talent in the squad and where they've come from, like I said earlier, you've cherry-picked from the Premier League, you cherry-picked from the Championship.
Can somebody look? Emerson's got a great point. Now, how many clean sheets has Sheffield Wednesday got? If anyone's got time, can they have a look and then pop in the chat? I know they've got 6 out of 7 from the last 7 away games. They're keeping clean sheets. And it's like Saturday. They've beaten Fleetwood at home, 1-0. Yeah, it's probably not the greatest game, Matt, but they kept another clean sheet and they got another 3 points on the board.
All it matters is getting out of the division, isn't it? That's all it matters about. And then you've got a little bit more scope for freedom, probably.
15 clean sheets. 15 clean sheets for Wednesday. Stephen Parry, how many have Town got and how many have Plymouth got, if you could find out?
So it's 15 clean sheets.
Plymouth have got 11.
Right. So 15.
Derby 14, Matt, clean sheets.
So it's almost half their matches have been clean sheets, basically, because they've done 27. I said to you earlier today, didn't I? I always feel like Paul Warren would be a really good manager for Town, just what we need at the moment. Someone who's been in this division, he's been promoted to this division, he's come back down to this division, he's gone back up again. Unfortunately, he's a Norwich fan, but he's just what we need. I still think, do you trust McKenna in the playoffs? Here's my question for you. Would you trust McKenna to win at least 2 of the 3 games in the playoffs? You win at
I've got every faith in Kieran McKenna. I'm not of the thought process about if we don't go up, he goes. Look, Arsenal fans, Mikel Arteta, how many of them wanted him out?
Yeah, very true. It took him 3 seasons to get where they are now.
But stuck with him.
They did say if he was to not get Champions League this season, it would be curtains for him. Well, he's probably going to win the league, isn't he? Yeah, true. I do get that. Do we want Ipswich to be a learning club for an up-and-coming manager, only for him to learn his trade and bugger off? Are we too big to be a learning club? With Arteta, he's a club legend, right? There's variables there. He was a club legend. He's learnt his trade under Guardiola. Okay, McKenna's learnt his trade under Mourinho. I get that. But also he had a glittering playing career, Arteta, didn't he? So he's a little bit different, I suppose. But the stakes are high for Town. What's the season look like next season if we're still in League One? Well, you're probably going to be playing Orient. You're probably going to be playing Stevenage because they're all as good as promoted, right? I remember running the FA Trophy final, non-league, and Stevenage won it. And then the opposition that day were Barrow, who were just outside the playoffs.
Well, there you go. We don't want to go down there again, do we? You know what happened last time we went to Barrow, man.
Yeah. I do really worry. And to me, it seems like unless, we can capitalise on Sheffield Wednesday drawing and we win and then we beat them February the 11th, I think we're probably going to finish 3rd or 4th. And then, as you always say, it's the lottery of the playoffs. I don't trust McKenna to get us out of the playoffs. I really don't.
Yeah. It depends. Look, I see Tuck's a little bit early saying it's too early for playoff chat, which I'll probably agree with. There's still 19 games to go. But if we have to go that route, when you get in them playoffs, Matt, you have to go into them with momentum. Not like under Mick when
we got lucky.
Fell into them, didn't we? By chance on that last day of the season. We lost away at Blackburn. I remember going. And obviously Derby, I think, did they lose 3-0? Was it home to Reading?
Reading, yeah.
So this does, it reminds me a little bit of that season after Christmas, the nosedive. We fell off the edge of the cliff then, and I don't think we're going to miss out.
Mick didn't have 5 mil to play with, did he?
He signed Freddie Sears. He got, what's his name? Chaplow on a loan, didn't he? Noel Hunt.
What was Sears? 100 grand?
I think it was about 100 grand. But Freddie Sears got 9 goals in 15 games from that run, which was pretty decent. And I'll tell you, if Nathan Broadhead or George Hurst gets 9 goals in 15 games, that's not to be sniffed at.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. What did you think? Well, you couldn't see him, could you? Broadhead looked like he was pretty lively and energetic.
He looked lively. I'll see a couple of runs, and then he was over the other side, and I couldn't really see what was going on. Look, I agree with you, Mike, there about the current form. This is what I'm saying about the current form isn't even playoff form, Matt.
Oh, God, no. It hasn't been since the Charlton result. Or it all points back to Charlton. Everything went pear-shaped after Charlton. I mean, how many teams have you heard get promoted before and go, do you remember we dropped that 4-2 lead away and got promoted at the end of the season?
That was a game, and I still think you'll probably won't see a game like that, the ending, for probably about another 20 years.
You might say that about the game on Saturday.
I still think we are suffering from a bit of a hangover.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Mentally.
Yeah. That must have shattered their confidence because they're celebrating like we've won the league, and they benches cleared. You kick off at 4-2. Within 2 minutes, it's 4-4.
Yeah.
That must have been like a real kick in the old,
But Kieran did say, didn't he, a little bit later, you might look back on that. It could be a good point, Matt, he said. Which...
No, that's never going to be a good point.
I can never agree with that.
Points goals, yeah, absolutely.
I'm never agreeing with that. But we do need to... Tomorrow night, we'll obviously look ahead to Morecambe now. We do need to be... Is it a win at all costs, don't matter how you play, or is it let's have a convincing victory? Let's have a convincing victory and give everyone a little bit of confidence.
First of all, I don't think it will be a convincing victory if they were to win. We struggled with them last season, didn't we? 2-2. Had to rely on Bond, didn't we, right at the end?
Well, I did actually say that was when I said that me and Martin could play centre-half that day.
Yeah.
And Cole Stockton, you remember dribbling through that? There you go. There's another easy goal that we give away.
Yeah. Even dates back to the cookie times. Stockton, of course, is you were quite keen on. He's now getting Piggott syndrome, isn't he? Was he got 2 all season?
I don't think he scored this season. He's been playing, hasn't he? Because if he was a little bit out of favour, I think they thought he was going to leave.
Yeah, he's got 2, I think. I don't know if they're league goals. He's got 2, I think.
But then we look at, like I say, the form table, and they're 10 points from the last 6 games. They're obviously down the bottom, fighting for their lives. But
did you see what he said today? We're playing a superpower of League One. Give me a break.
Is that what we said? Derek Adams?
Yeah, the superpower. You dream of going to Portman Road. I was like, oh no, not again. Every time someone says this, it goes tits up, doesn't it?
Not another one giving us false praise.
Yeah, absolutely. He's thinking.
I can't stand that. It's like I heard Saturday, Robinson, Ipswich are the best team in the league. Now, how many more times are we going to hear that from an opposition manager?
Doing Stephen Schumacher sees his interviews, goes, hold on a minute. Look what I'm doing. I'm juggling dust and we're on 61 points. We can only hope Everton know he's an Evertonian and go, let's get this guy in.
I don't think Everton are going to pick a manager from League One.
Bielsa's the favourite.
Who is?
Bielsa, I've been told.
Is he really?
Yeah. See,
for me, if I was an Evertonian, I'd probably go Dyche, Sean Dyche.
Yeah, that's a shout.
Or
Bielsa,
Duncan Ferguson. Ferguson will be in the mix. He'll be there and he's just wearing his shirt, about 2 degrees. On the sidelines.
He's like, but Lampard's an interesting one, isn't it? Because this is someone else who's not really learned his trade and gone in at the top end off the back of a really good career. So he goes to Derby. What does he do? Loans in Mason Mount and various other Chelsea players. They get to the playoffs. They lose. And then he gets the Chelsea job, which was always written in the stars, wasn't it? They ditch it. Then somebody gets the Everton job, a Cockney on Merseyside. Terrible fit. They're now bottom of the table. Again, too much too soon. And I do feel like this is, with McKenna, I do feel like the job is too big for him. I like the guy's style, the coaching and all that kind of thing. His interviews, boring. But in terms of how he approaches games, I think he's really good. But I still think it's just too much too soon. But on the flip side of that coin, say you're a coach at Man United, right, Rich? And they go, you can leave United and become the boss in League 2 of Newport. You go, why would I bother? It was just sit somewhere halfway, didn't it? A big name, somewhere I can actually start my career. But as fans, do we really want someone starting their career with us when there's so much at stake? The 20 years of shit we've been putting up with, and you know.
But then if we go back, let's go back to the late 90s when George Burley was there, and he'd been at Colchester. I get that, you know, and he'd been up in Scotland, hadn't he? But he was
United
still pretty wet behind the ears. But how would the fan base have reacted then? Because playoff season after playoff season. How would I know it's different now with social media platforms like this? How would town fans have acted back then when we kept Sheffield United in the playoffs, Charlton in the playoffs, Bolton in the playoffs? How would they react again?
Yeah, he gets an extra shield a little bit, extra points, doesn't he? Being a legend, part of the UEFA 81 side. I don't recall too many people wanting Burley out back in the day. But like you say, that you didn't have social media then. You just had
I remember one season. I think it was when did we sign David Johnson? I think we were right down the bottom there in about October time, and then we went on about a 23 game,
that's right,
unbeaten run, and it was unbelievable. And the football was fantastic, But there was, if that had been now, he'd have probably got the sack.
He'd have got the sack after the 9-0 against Man United, I would imagine. We were down the bottom there, weren't we?
When he came in, I think that was a little bit out of his hands. He came in and we were 3-0.
Yeah, I was at that game a while.
Yeah. But we were sinking shit back then anyway.
Yeah.
And that just needed a complete clear out. But getting back to like Lampard, obviously Chelsea, but managers everywhere nowadays, they never really serve that apprenticeship, do they?
No, because you're riding
Steven Gerrard, another one.
Gerrard.
Great player. Rangers. Yeah.
Great.
Done okay there, but not the hardest league in the world. Aston Villa. And now he's out of a job.
He's out of a job, absolutely.
Whereas Lampard, like you said, Lampard for Chelsea, he was never going to turn that down. It was too early for him. But he never...
Even Graham Potter's struggling now. Far better managers than Lampard.
Yeah.
Miles Morgan's managed.
But, I don't know.
Worst case scenario, So we don't go up this season. You'd keep McKenna for next season on the premise that he's learnt this season from mistakes. Is the same amount of money going to be available next year? I'm going to give him another 5 million.
It's like Tuck said, we've had big names here before and they've done fuck all. Paul Lambert, Paul Cook.
Keno.
So...
I do feel like the next appointment could become some kind of big name, really. That kind of... How do you keep... You've got the interest at the moment, right? The fantastic crowds, the Plymouth atmosphere. We were buzzing, weren't we? Fantastic. Got the Dusseldorf boys in with the big flags. You got your 29,000. How do you keep that momentum going on the back of failure when you've spent this amount of money? And Mark
it all depends how the season pans out, really. I think it's a little bit early now to say failure because we don't know what's going to happen between now and
It feels like you talk sinking ships. It feels like we're on the Titanic at the moment. We're just going below.
Possibly. But we all know how football. We all know how football works, and it can change round. It can change round.
We also know Ipswich too well. We've seen it before.
we do know. Like as we were driving home Saturday, and I said to Ollie, Ollie's like 15, and he knows already. It's like it's going to be mostly disappointment, But I think we just have to take a step back and look at where we are at the minute. Are we happy with where we are? No. If we were third now and it'd been like, if we'd have come through the pack, Matt, and we're sitting third, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I'd even be happy with third if we just beat, we've had a couple of games where Wednesday and Plymouth have come through and we haven't won those games, we've drawn them and we're sitting 2 points behind second. I'd be happy with that. I think someone said on our show the other Sunday, after the Plymouth game, and he said, you are hunting us. As prey, we might get away from you. And that's what it's looking like at the moment. They're out of reach. It's out of our hands, isn't it? It's up to them to implode now. And can we capitalise on them and then on them doing it? It's going to be really difficult because we picked up 31 points from last 19 games.
You look at the way Plymouth are going, they're probably going to get 100 points. I know I said
I hope they do.
I said the 2-point average, but the way they're going, I think, is it 13 out of 14 they've won at home?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I don't see that changing. I don't see that changing at home form.
I hope they do it. At the end of the day, if you're top of that table after 46 league games, fair play to you. And you're right, they could get 100 points. It's whether or not we can catch Sheffield Wednesday.
So let's get on to our 1 to 11s. I've got mine, Matt. I don't know. Have you got yours?
Oh, go on, you do yours, and I'll.
Tomorrow night.
Yeah, go on then. You keep Walton in goal then. Or are you making changes?
Yeah, people in the chat, if you want to put your team up, feel free. Yeah, Christian Walton.
What's it take to get Walton out the side?
Look, I don't think he's not had any real massive howlers. I don't think his kickings looked a bit dodgy, but
the only howler he really had was probably Charlton.
I'm sticking with him.
Yeah,
Clark comes in. Clark comes in for me for JD because we haven't spent over $1 million on another fullback.
Needs must.
He's going to have to play. I'm going to stick with Wolfen and the Burgess because
Oh, yeah.
I don't see who else plays in there, Matt. George Edmondson. I don't see where he is at the minute, Edmondson.
Do you remember, I mentioned him earlier, do you remember Kevin Steggles? He was always the deputy to Osman and Butcher. They put on the show, didn't they? If one of us was out, injured or whatever, international call-ups, whatever, you could always rely on that guy to come in and to keep parity. Well, we just haven't got that.
Did we think Richard Keogh was going to be that person when we signed him?
Would you give him a go? But then he would want to play right side, wouldn't he?
No, I don't think he'd probably play Saturday against Burnley. I would have thought. And then obviously I've got Davis playing at left back, and then midfield 2, the captain Morsey, and I'm going to play Luongo tomorrow night.
Now are they too similar, them two?
Well, it depends because he likes to get Morsey playing further forward.
He does. So you still got the issue we got with Morsey and Evans is they're too slow in that kind of what I liked about Morsey when he first come in, and with Tyreek when he come in, Backinson, really good at recycling the ball and getting the attack going again. But with Morsey and Evans, they seem to go back and forth and back and forth, then go back to the defence and the keeper, and it seems slow to me. And it didn't seem that slow in the first half of the season, which is when you said Evans had his purple patch.
I still want Jack Taylor. He said today they asked Kieran about any more transfer, and he said probably not, but you never know. Now he's won. I'd still sign him. If you've chased him and you want him, why would you not try and sign him?
They're probably now. Well, I reckon if we were second or first, they'd probably bust the gut to get that deal done. But the fact that they're now third, many points off both of those top positions, they're probably going to settle for what they've got. But I'd like to see Luongo. I mean, let's not forget, Borough did play Sheffield Wednesday, $1 million for him only a year ago. 18 months ago. So he's obviously got some quality there. And he's an Australian international of something like 50 caps standing. This should see what we can bring. But again, you like people that come in with momentum. Got no momentum, has he? But
it seems strange for me. Why have we signed him if he's not going to be able to play?
A mystery. Because he didn't tick any of the boxes, Martin said. Didn't tick any of the boxes, did he? We need someone to come in.
He's going to be a player who, when an Evans or a Morsey is injured or suspended, he just comes in.
It's a weird one. I mean, maybe it's another panic signing on the back of Kamara probably not featuring again this season. We know Don Ball's not going to feature this season.
He's a free. I get that. It's a 6-month contract, He's experienced. If you listen to his interview, I think he knows the score. He knows he's probably only going to play a bit part. But I say
he stay down. He could be a bit of quality for us next season.
Wednesday fans, they raved about him, Matt. Didn't want him to leave. So I'm playing him, and then I've got Burns on the right, Broadhead on the left, and Chaplin, and then I've got Hurst up front.
Nice. Like that. Interesting. So you would not play that. You're going to keep giving Hurst games. Maybe you have to justify Hurst getting games.
This is where we are. You're only playing that one striker.
Yeah.
How is anyone going to get any momentum or any form? Play one game, then you're back on the bench. Then you come on at 65 minutes.
I would imagine that Hurst, because he played up top with that Smith, did he not, at Rotherham? Maybe a little bit with Ladapo at Rotherham when he was on.
Yeah, he was at Rotherham. Yeah.
I mean, he ain't going to look. I mean, I'm dreaming here. He's not going to change the formation, is he? He's never going to change his formation. He ain't going to get the two. But it'd be interesting to see Hurst and Ladapo could play together in like a Ladapo / Michael Smith combo that they had at Rotherham last season, which seemed to be quite fruitful. I mean, he's obviously quality.
That was an interesting thing when you touched on it earlier in the season. I think it was when the transfer show you done about Freddie Ladapo. He'd always played in a 2.
I was absolutely convinced Ipswich would go to a 2. I thought McKennan's going to change it up this season. No, you must slot into the positions we're telling you to do. Yeah,
but I think Broadhead now we've spent some money on him. I think he really needs to play, and
how must you be not to get in the Everton first team, mind?
But he needs a run of games, doesn't he, Matt? He needs a run of games.
He looks good. The video I've seen of him, he looks a good player, and they liked him at Sunderland, albeit maybe a little bit injury prone. And he's also had quite a good season at Wigan, albeit in difficult circumstances. Well, they bottom of the Championship, whatever, but he's still got like 4 or 5 goals there. So you would imagine, if given the opportunity, he can do something for Town. But again, is the formation going to suit him? Is he going to be happy playing on that left side with just one striker for support? You'd imagine he's going to dovetail quite nicely with Chaplin. Chaplin's always the mainstay, isn't he? He's always the mainstay in the side.
Yeah. I think if you're handing out player of the year now, I think Connor Chaplin's probably in the shake-up for it.
Yeah. Is he actually top scorer, Chaplin?
Yeah. Connor's top scorer. I think he's got 11 league goals.
I worry if we stay down, he will go next season. You've got to imagine someone would take him. He's such a pivotal player for us. What does Gov call him? The talisman for us, doesn't it?
I think he is.
Great player. Too good for
he knows that he decided to drop down. Morsey dropped down. Christian Walton dropped down. Now, they're not going to want to play in League One forever, are they?
No, absolutely. You'll probably get Walton disappearing. He'll have to keep back in the side.
But what for you? Have you got any different players in your 11?
I like that. I like that team. I do like. I maybe would. Have you got intel here?
No. I've had nothing.
I know you and your contacts. I don't know. I mean, I like the Depot from the start at home. He was so good against Rotherham. That goal he scored him around the keeper. It's brilliant. But then maybe, Hurst starting a full game at home. I mean, how can you justify someone who's getting 16 grand a week? He's come to play games from a Premier League club, not being in the starting lineup. But it's competition for Ladapo, isn't it? Like you said, if you come off the bench, you're looking a bit. Body language is not good. There's someone right behind you who's going to fill your space in the side. No, I like it. I'd like to maybe have Humphreys in there tomorrow night. He was so good against Rotherham. A Rotherham team that drew 1-1 with Watford on the weekend, by the way.
But then it was interesting Saturday. He didn't even make the bench Saturday, Humphreys. This is what I'm saying now. How does Kieran, right? He's got a massive squad now. How does he keep everybody happy?
I think probably the squad knows, because it's not like old school football, is it? Like, this is the team, this is the 11. They keep winning, you'll keep playing. It ain't like that. Like you said, out of nowhere, Hurst is suddenly playing up top after the draw with Plymouth. It just seems like he's so changeable, and everyone's probably aware of that. But I think Humphreys, he really offers something depending on what role you play him in. I mean, Morsey has to move sides though, doesn't he, to accommodate Humphreys? He goes over because he normally plays on the left side, doesn't he, of the two? And he had to change, didn't he, when Humphreys come in the team? But I mean, he's a quality player, Humphreys. He'd probably be in any other team in League One, wouldn't he? Playing regularly, I would have thought. Probably for our opposition tomorrow night, it would be.
But we've got so many players now. It's like you need to.
Go? Do you feel like anyone might go before?
I don't know, but I think we've got to nearly the end of January. And does he know his best 11?
I think he knows his best 11 in depending on who the opposition is, isn't it? But in terms of this is the worry for me in the playoffs, because suddenly it's not like you said to me earlier. It's no longer league football, is it? It's tournament football. And that's a very different mindset in terms of when you play in the league. But we've seen in the FA Cup, actually, we have been able to stand up in those games and actually look really good in those situations. But, the stakes are high in playoff games.
Oh, massive.
You have to get that team exactly right for the home leg, the away leg. And then when you go to Wembley, who can deal in a pressure situation in front of 80,000 fans, which is what it would be. Certainly if we're going to be there. It's going to be absolutely packed. I don't know. I don't think he does know his best 11, quite frankly, because it's so changeable. I mean, he's picked teams that he thought were going to win games comfortably, and we've drawn them all, lost them, haven't we?
Yeah.
Fleet at home, Cheltenham at home, Lincoln at home, where we lost 1-0 and had about 40 shots or whatever. I don't know. He's still, but again, that is, if you're going to take a manager that's learning his trade, that you've got to take the highs and the lows, really. And I'm not really down with the lows over the last 20 years of Town and not wanting to be in the third tier anymore. Even though we've been Checkbook FC, we're still sitting third. It's laughable, isn't it?
Yeah, well, how do you think the Americans would feel if we didn't get out of this league?
They've got to go to the Arizonians and go, by the way, we didn't actually succeed in our goals. Look, American sports, they don't think anything of getting rid of coaches. So it'd be very interesting to see. I mean, look, it feels like I'm shooting Bambi a little bit because everyone loves McKenna, and the PR job that Ashton and co have done has been really good. And you wouldn't have 29,000 people in the stadium against Plymouth, would you? In the League One fix.
He touched on that today in his interview, didn't he, about the impact of the fans. Now, you cannot question the fans. They've backed them home and away this season, massively. It's probably going to be, I'd have thought tomorrow night, probably be one of the lowest crowds of the season. It's a Tuesday night, it's Morecambe, freezing cold.
Yeah.
Morecambe are probably going to bring, 100?
Do you think they'll get triple figures?
I said to Colin, I've gone for 107 away fans.
Who bought the 66?
Fleetwood. Can they beat six? Can everyone in the chat? How many fans do you think Morecambe are going to bring tomorrow night? Can they beat Fleetwood 66?
It's the same neck of the woods, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, that just goes to show how ludicrous it is, isn't it? We're spending millions and millions and millions in this division, and we're playing teams that bring 66 to our ground that holds 30,000.
Astanos says 54. Josh says 125. Stephen Parry says 34. Colin says Roy Clark says 3.
Do you remember when we played Inter Milan? I don't think they brought any fans, did they? There was like 2.
No. When we played Torpedo Moscow, did they bring any?
I don't think they did.
No, because it's really weird when they scored. It was like silence, wasn't it?
A bit like the end of the Plymouth game.
Callie says, bigger following Morecambe, easily make the 80s.
All right. We'll see tomorrow. We'll find out, won't we? It'll be interesting. I reckon they won't make 100. We'll just shan't. 95.
But as far as like saying about the fans have been brilliant, you're just trotting out them lines now, really, aren't you? Because you're under pressure. You've not performed how you should in the last 10, 11 games.
Yeah.
We need everyone to stick. We need everyone to stick behind us. Well, we have.
The lad
season tickets, away tickets.
Yeah.
Shirts.
Black shirts.
3 lots of shirts. We've sold more than we've ever sold before. So
yeah.
I don't think I think that's a bit cheap when they start saying, about the fans have been brilliant. Yeah.
I can't stand it because that's actually been a bad performance, because they'll say, even that lad who does the interviews on the Ipswich channel will go, Kieran, what about those fans today? We just couldn't, we're really sad we couldn't. No, just sold off. Just get the wins. Stop patronising everybody. You're going to get sold out away ends, whatever it is. This is the passion that town fans bring. They go in volume, don't they? They go in volume in terms of quantity. But I still like to see maybe a little bit more action from the Spurs. You can go really quick, like you've said before, 29,000 in the stadium can go pretty quick, can't it?
Yeah, obviously Blue Action are going in Block A on Saturday for the Burnley game. That'll be interesting to see. I think they'll get a few glances from the local residents in that stand, won't they?
I last watched a game in there in about 1999 in the Portman Terrace, 1-1 with Sheffield United. Marcus Bent scored for Sheffield United that day. I always remember that. And Gary Croft.
He had a lot of clubs, didn't he?
And Gary Croft had the tag on his leg. That's when we was rock and roll back then, Criminals were playing for us.
Callie says, right, good point here. When do we hold Kieran McKenna to account? I'm not bashing for him to go, and I'm backing him, but I feel if we don't make the top 2, regardless if he stays, surely the season's a failure unless we go up in the playoffs.
I'm holding him. We'll just give him Martin a 5-minute warning, everybody, to press the end of the show. I'm holding to account.
He could be here all night. He don't sometimes answer his WhatsApp. He don't answer his WhatsApp all the time. So has he got 2 blue ticks?
He just come back. How much longer?
Forever.
Are you two ever going to shut up? His own. I hold him to account now. It's not my fault. He's a rookie manager. That's Ashton's fault, and he's learning on the job here. I feel like this maybe should have been his second job. Say he did quite well wherever it might have been. Then he comes in. I know that's a huge ask to go from Man United to a little tin pot team in League Two to learn trade. Paul Ince did it, by the way. He went to Macclesfield, didn't he? So he learned how to book coaches for the sides to go on their away trips. I mean, fair play to him. This is a guy who played for Inter Milan in England, for crying out loud. I'm holding to account now. Absolutely. I don't see how you could spend that amount of money and not be held accountable. It's just crazy to me. Crazy. What about you?
If we don't get out, it will be a failure.
Massive.
It has to be for the outlay that we've had on the team. Look, we all love We've done some great work on the stadium. We're going to get a new pitch. We're knocking down Staples, knocking down the gym. Everything off the field, fantastic. But a lot of people don't really care about all of that. They want to know what happens at 3 o'clock on a Saturday and 7:45 on a midweek game and where we finish at the end of the season, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a blow to game changer. I mean, look, the reason they're doing all this stadium stuff is to have a sellable asset at the end of it.
Yeah.
And that would be Ipswich Town in a higher division than what it is now. So they're doing all the work on the stadium and we're not going anywhere.
But,
so,
if you listen to what Mike O'Leary said a while back, he said it might not happen straight away. He did say
that last season, wasn't he?
Well,
I mean, nothing says like we're going for promotion by giving your manager $5 million.
Look,
we all want it, doesn't it?
No matter whatever anybody thinks in the chat, and like we all want out of this league. We know that. We're fed up with it. We've been here for 4 seasons.
Don't give us Stevenage, please. Not Stevenage.
We want out this season. We do want out this season. But if it doesn't happen, we just have to pick yourselves up and go again. We will have to.
Have you got the stomach for it next season? At the moment, I have
to. You'll have to. Callie says crowds won't be the same next season if we're still in League One. I think they will. I think we'll still get good support.
Hard sell. I agree with Callie. I think it's a hard sell next season.
You know,
you might find some angle. You might have a new manager, a headline name. Who knows? There's always. Remember when Marcus Evans brought in Dos Santos to try and raise season tickets for the following year? Worked a treat, that. Great. Giovanni,
man. If we don't go up, who's taking Matt to Barrow away? We've been there. Like he says, me and Callie and Matt Stanley, we've been to Barrow. We've done that. That's
Ian was there, wasn't he? Ian was there from the cricket show. He went.
He was there, but he didn't have to travel so far.
Oh, true. Yeah.
That was a long night. It was awful. We're on the telly. When are we next on the telly? We ain't got there's nothing booked in for Town on the Box, is there?
No, which is probably good, really, isn't it? Considering our record in recent years. I thought maybe the Plymouth game would have moved, or maybe the Sheffield Wednesday game. I was surprised
that wasn't on the box. I thought maybe Sheffield Wednesday might be, but
I was really adamant that probably would have changed, but I don't know. What's your prediction in tomorrow? Martin wants to say good night to you all, everybody. So, what's your prediction?
Robertson, follow the Town up or down. I agree. Tomorrow night, get your prediction in quickly. We're going to close the show in a minute. I know what you're going to say. I can predict what you're going to say. You're going to go 1-0.
I was going to say 1. Yeah.
I knew you were going to say 1-0.
I'm too pessimistic at the moment.
I'll take a win anyway that we can get it. But I really think we do need to have a positive performance to give everyone a little bit of a lift. You know, going into, obviously, we've got the cup game Saturday against Burnley, which I'm looking forward to that. That'll be pressure off. You know, we can just go out there and enjoy that. But tomorrow night, I'll go for a sneaky 2-1 Town win.
Are you expecting Cole Stockton to score for them?
I don't know who'll score, but someone will probably score an easy goal. We're bound to give a shocker away again, and we're all going to sit there and think, oh, here we go again. This is the one thing that worries me. Before we go, is Kieran always says it in his interviews, you know, we're learning. Well, you're not learning. Because we're still making mistakes.
Yeah.
And we're still making the same mistakes. And until we eradicate that from our game, Matt, I'm afraid that we will be in the playoffs, and then it's just a lottery. It's a cup competition, and anything could happen. But just have to wait and see. But look, the chat has been absolutely flying tonight. I know it's just a shame we couldn't put any messages on the screen because obviously Martin's at hospital. But I think we've done all right. We've done an hour and 10.
We could do 2 hours really, but you know, Martin's ready to press the button. Everybody, well, look, we've had some fun. It's been a difficult time for the Talking Town family, hasn't it, Rich? But you know, some things big of football, but we've had a good laugh tonight and chatting about stuff. It's all good. All right, Martin, there. Press the button.
Still there. We'll just keep talking until we disappear. Blue hearts, please. Blue hearts in. You make me smile when I think of you. If I